second half of this week's, oh, look, I've tied my apron so that it wouldn't slide off of the hanger. Hold on just a second. So this is the second half of this week's workshop. So I'm gonna start calling these workshops. I am not an official Weight Watchers leader. I just love Weight Watchers so much, but we have a bunch of new people who, honestly and truly, we have a bunch of new people who didn't even know that workshops were ever a thing. Like, they've never been to a workshop, never have had an option for a workshop. It's not that they had a workshop and lost it, like some of you did. They just never had one, didn't even know it was an option. So I'm going to call these, I'm going to start calling these workshops. These are not sanctioned in any way, shape, or form by Weight Watchers. I just love Weight Watchers, and I am a card-carrying member. I am a paying member every week, and yeah, and we just need to chat about it. So this is the second half of tonight's workshop. I hope the first half didn't freak you out too much, that I removed some of the things that we've been doing for the last 7 years so that we can try some new things, so that we can refresh everything, so that we can kind of freshen it up. Casey is working on graphics for the new printables. So by the time you get this in the next couple of days, and that'll just be from over on www.ifyouhaveanegg.com, by the next time you see it, that's all going to be refreshed. Give it a couple of days because we're having to make all new graphics. So give her a couple of days to do that. But when it's done, I sincerely hope that everyone will go over there and check it out and give us some feedback on that as well. So we're trying to make everything more streamlined, faster to do, and not so labor intensive, because it is just Casey and I now who are writing, editing, videoing, more editing, digitally enhancing, whatever, prepping, paying for, whatever. So we're trying to streamline the labor and the typing part of it a little bit so that we can, so that we can give you the best bang for your virtual buck. Okay, so this week we are still talking about tracking, and I am going to do some tracking, hacking, okay? In the second half, we're going to make a very simple meal. So we're not technically cooking, Sarah, but we kind of sort of are. So we're going to take a really simple meal and we're going to make it here. And then we're going to track it. I think it's 7 different ways. Let me see. We're going to track it 7 different ways. Did you even know that there were 7 different ways to track a meal? Who knew? Okay, lots of tips and tricks are coming. Hang on tight. And remember, here in a couple of days, this will be printed. So, like, this will be on IfYouHaveAnEgg.com, and you'll be able to print it off. So you do not have to you don't have to, be like, oh my gosh, I can't even listen and I can't watch because I've got to write it all down. You don't have to, because here in a couple of days, you'll be able to print it. So, first things first, I'm lazy tonight. I'm not really lazy tonight. I've been here. I'm off on Sundays, but except for the work on the chats, and yet I have been here for, let me think, 10 hours. I think I've been here working for 10 hours tonight. Okay, so we're not using real plate. We're going to use a paper plate. We're going to use I think these are Chinette. Doesn't really matter. Okay, so the simple meal that we are making tonight. Our first ingredient is a perfectly prepared hard-boiled egg. I'm going to cut that in half, and it's going to make sense here in a few minutes why I'm cutting that in half. So, for our perfectly planned and prepared meal, first we have a hard-boiled egg, which is how many points, everybody? See, I need Alyssa. I told Alyssa she could not come tonight, even though she's off from school tomorrow, because we have a ton to go over, and I knew she would be a distraction, but it's at this moment that I need her. So everybody, how many points is a hard-boiled egg? We have 1 hard-boiled egg. We are going to have approximately a half a cup of carrots. 0, very good, Carol. So we're going to have about a half a cup of baby carrots. Maybe a few more, maybe a few less. But how many points are carrots, everyone? Yes, Lynn, 0. So we've got about a half of a cup of carrots. Then we are going to have a blood orange. Yep, very good, Rosie. And the blood orange, I picked that because I wanted it to be colorful on the plate. So I'm also going to cut the blood orange in half. Look how pretty. Look how pretty that is. Okay. I'm going to run out of room on the plate, so I'm only going to put half of it on there. And if you are not on the diabetic program, so I have my app switched over to Living with Diabetes, even though I'm not diabetic. So for me, this blood orange is going to be points, but for the rest of you, it is 0 points. Okay, now for our only two things that are points, we're going to use 2 tablespoons of Sabra Greek-inspired hummus, which I thought was funny because where is hummus originally from? Isn't it Greek? That just seemed like an oxymoron. It just seemed obvious to me. But we're going to do 2 tablespoons. Okay. So we're going to do 2 tablespoons of hummus. Okie dokie. And we're going to look that up here in a second after I lick it off of that carrot. Yummy, yummy. And then 22 of the Harvest Snaps Baked Red Lentil Snacks Crunchy Loops. Okay, so let me see if I can make 22 of them fit on here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, we're gonna pretend like this is 22. I don't think I can fit 22 of them on this plate. So in case you all were wondering, this is my lunch this week for Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Okay, so Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday of this week, my lunch is gonna be, hopefully y'all can see this, my lunch is gonna be a hard-boiled egg, about a half a cup of carrots, 2 tablespoons of Sabra Greek-inspired hummus, a blood orange, and 22 Harvest Snaps Crunchy Loops. Okay, so how do you track that? I'm going to show you 7. I'm going to show you 7 different ways to track this, okay? The first method of tracking, the first way to track this, so here's our handy dandy tracker. Let me see if I can get this turned. Yeah, I'll get this turned around this way. So here's the first way that you can track this. The first way that you can track this is, and actually we'll know the protein. Hold on a second, Vicky. Okay, Vicky's concerned about the protein. So hold on just a second. Just because she has me curious now. Let's see. What is today? Is the 19th? Oh, no. Hold on. I've accidentally gone into February. Hold, please. What in the world? Where is today? Okay, hold on. Slight little glitch. For some reason, it put me in February. I was playing with this earlier. So we're going to log back into Weight Watchers, into the app. Okay, and so for today, we're just going to check and see how much protein. That had nothing to do with the chat, but you've got me curious now. Yeah, I'm not worried about my protein. So, okay, when I do, actually it's 3 points for the loops, Debbie. So when I combine with my breakfast, I've got 36 grams of protein, but we're gonna find that out here in just a second. So here's what we're gonna do. So the first way that I'm gonna show you to track is just called a single item lookup, and you can do this with or without the scanner, and with or without 0 point foods. So we're going to track our 0 point foods, but in method number 1, it's just single item lookup. For some people, this might be easier. You literally just you just tap in the search for food, and the first thing you might put in, if you're going to type it in, you might type in carrots, and then you've got lots of different choices for carrots. You can just find whichever one you want, put in the portions. You can also go ahead and go to like breakfast or lunch or whatever and do the same thing. Or if you want to scan it, you can use the barcode scanner. We'll do this with the harvest loops just because they're easier to hold. So with the barcode scanner, we can see that this is Harvest Snaps, crunchy sour cream and onion, blah, 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 red lentil snack chips. Okay, so 3 points for those. Okay, that is single item tracking, single item lookup. So there are lots of days that I do it that way. If I'm eating something different, or if I'm out somewhere, or if I don't know what I'm gonna have, I might do single item lookup. The next method of tracking is same as yesterday. So if it's an item or a meal that you eat frequently, like I'm gonna be eating this lunch for 3 days this week, when you click on that meal, so that this is gonna be for lunch, and I have already tracked this for 1 day. Oh, interesting. Okay, so Debbie says it's her app says 4 points for 22 pieces. So I'll have to go back and recheck the crunchy loops. We're gonna pretend like it's 3 because that's what I've already tracked. So yeah, okay, I'll have to look and make sure I'm looking up the right one. So if you click on lunch, a little box is gonna pop up that says same as yesterday. So right here, right there, is a little list. Now mine is gonna say 8 because I have mine clicked over to Living with Diabetes, but because yesterday I tracked the hummus, an egg, the carrots, the sour cream and onion crunchy loops, the blood orange, and the egg. Did I already say the egg? Because I had already tracked all that yesterday, I have a little box that pops up that says same as yesterday. That's another way to track. So I can totally just go ahead and go on there and click same as yesterday. You touch that little plus sign, and that's going to track it to lunch today. Or if you switch to tomorrow or the next day or the next day, it'll just keep adding it. Now, if you need to switch one of the ingredients, I think it's easier. Yeah, not hot and spicy, the French or the sour cream and onion ones. But that's a good call though, Debbie. So if you do that, and if you need to switch, like let's say you're not going to have carrots, let's say that you're going to have cucumbers instead or something. I still think if you've got this many things on there, instead of refinding 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different things, I just go ahead and let it track it, and then go into it and like swipe and remove the carrots and add cucumbers or whatever. I think it's easier that way. Okay, method number 3 is frequently tracked lists. So that is very similar to the same as yesterday. But instead of same as yesterday, which is right there and already has all the points on there, you will also start to build, you'll start to build a list, like, or develop some habits within your app of frequently eaten foods at certain meals. So there are some foods that I eat more at breakfast or more at lunch or more at dinner or whatever, and so those are added to my frequently tracked foods, and you can use that list again to scroll through, tap the plus signs. You can always go through and search for something if you need to add something else. If they don't already appear, if it doesn't already appear in that list. Like every single day when I touch breakfast, black coffee comes up first. Roundhouse morning kick, whatever it's called, that comes up, blah blah blah. So I have certain things that come up in my frequently tracked list, and you can do that. Okay, quick add tracking. Quick add tracking is that for that particular method, you need to have some idea of how many points the food or the meal is before you get too carried away. Okay, you can't just start making stuff up unless you're literally in a situation where you have no idea how much it is and you just want to put some points on it. But in this case, we already know how many points this is. So we're going to do a quick add, because if I'm having this 3 different days this week, I already know that for me, because my app is toggled over to the Living with Diabetes, I already know that this plate is going to be 8 points for me. I think it would be, let me think, 5. It would be 5 points for you all, because or for any of you that are not toggled over to the Living with Diabetes, because this blood orange is 3 points, okay, for me. for somebody on living with diabetes. So on the quick add, what you're going to do is you're going to go to this plus symbol up here. So I'm still on lunch. You're going to go to the plus symbol at the top, and then right here, the very first one says quick add. And on the quick add, you're going to type in a name. So like maybe hummus lunch or egg and hummus lunch or something like that. And then you type in, so you type in right here, you type in the food name. You can type that in. Whoops. And then you're going to type in what the points are. So I could go ahead and, you know, so I could just go ahead and say, yep, 8, 8, 8. I could go ahead and do that. Okay. Debbie is jumping ahead a second. It's okay, Debbie. The next one is called Create a Meal Tracking. The Create a Meal Tracking is if you're going to be eating the same thing over and over and over and over again, it's going to be pretty similar. I know a lot of you all, there are a boo-koodle of you who eat pretty much the same thing for at least a meal or two a day. And this method, you can track blindfolded. Like, quick add will not, that's a good point. Quick add will not count the macros, Carol Lou, because you didn't tell it what you ate. You just called it something. Like sometimes I'll put like, you know, lunch, 30 points or whatever, if I'm just guessing at how much I ate, like if it was crazy, but it will not count the macros. But remember, that's if you're just, that's on a quick add. So you don't need to do that every time. Okay, so Create a Meal though, you can track almost blindfolded because you're going to create a meal, and that one will count towards the macros. So the first time you do this, it has a couple of extra steps because you've got to add the foods, but then it's a snap after that. So in this instance, we're going to go to lunch. We're going to touch the plus sign, and then down here at the bottom it says Create Meal. So we're going to go to Create Meal, and we're going to name it something, and we're going to call it like hummus lunch, whatever. So we're going to name it, and then you're just going to keep clicking add. So it says add right there, and you're going to add your ingredients. So I would add a hard-boiled egg, add a half a cup of baby carrots, add 2 tablespoons of the hummus, and you can still scan. You can still use the scanner if you need to. Add the crunchy loops, add the blood orange, and then once you do that, on the way out, when you've finished adding it, it's going to ask if you want to track it. And if you do track it, there's a little bookmark that comes up. So you can either just add it to your list, or you can do the bookmark. If you decide, if you need to go, not if, you created a meal. When you go back to find it though, the way you find it is you're going to go all the way back to the beginning to My Day, and then you're going to click that little icon in the upper left, and like mine is my picture. And I said that to somebody the other day, and they were like, "Where's your picture?" "What? I don't have your picture on my app." And I was like, "No, my picture won't be on your app. It's your picture." But hers was just her first initial because she had never added a profile picture. So whatever is in that upper left-hand corner, and you're going to find it 2 different ways. One of them is you can click on if you saved it. So if you checked that little flag before you exit it out, you can go to saved, and you have a choice of saved foods, saved activities, or saved posts, and that's if you've saved somebody's Connect post. So you can go to your saved foods and you can search. You can type it in, or you can scroll. Or the other way you can find it, you're going to go back to that icon and you're going to go down to My Food, and then under My Food you can search for recipes. Foods, recipes, and then meals. And so if I click on meals, again, I can either scroll through or I can search, and I had named that one hummus lunch, whatever, and you can see it brought it right up there. So the hummus lunch is there. It's already there. It's already got all the ingredients listed in there, and if I track it, then yes, it will count towards the macros because it has all of those foods already listed in it. Okay, so that's Create a Meal. Whew. Okay, any questions so far? Because I am whooping through this because I wasn't sure how long it was going to take. And I need to save just a couple of minutes for split tracking. Okay, I'm going to get another sip while you all decide if you have any questions. Okay, Sarah says, yes, I was wondering how to do this. Thank you. Oh, Carol Lou says she learned something new. Yay! Yay, yay, yay. People ask me all the time if I wanted to be a teacher, and I'm like, absolutely not. I absolutely never had any desire to be a teacher. But I do like it when somebody says they learned something. And let's see, Lynn says, I do that for drive-through. Oh, that she's the same thing. There you go. Same thing. Yep, Lynn Taco Bell. Boom. So that's her created meal. Lynn Taco Bell, so she knows what it is, so makes it super, super fast. Okay, so Sarah, it's not the bookmarking that tracks it, it's the fact that you can bookmark it to find it. So that's to be able to find it. But then as soon as you use it, then it's gonna add the macros. Okay, method number 6, because we still have 2 more. So we have this one and another one. So method number 6, camera scanner tracking. So this one is experimental with Weight Watchers, with the Weight Watchers app. So we will be testing the Weight Watchers app's intelligence here in just a second. It's a good thing that this is still a non-sentient AI, so we can't hurt its feelings, okay? So if we make fun of it right now, we can't hurt its feelings because it is, as of this moment, non-sentient, okay? So it has no feelings. So we have this plate. We have this plate that we have already tracked 5 other ways and come up with the same number every time. And so let's say though you're tired, or you just don't want to think about it, or it's something that you don't know what some of the things are or whatever, and you think, you know what, I'm going to try out this new handy dandy camera. And yes, Sarah, I finally got the camera. So we're going to go back to my day, and the camera is right there. It is right next to the barcode scanner. So we're going to touch the camera, which is the camera, and I'm hoping that you all can see this. I'm hoping y'all can see what I'm doing. So I am going to, I just took a picture of the plate. So this is the plate that we've been looking at. We're all in agreement. That's the plate we've been looking at, and we're going to hit the check mark, and look, it's thinking. The non-sentient AI is thinking, and it says a hard-boiled egg, correct. Baby carrots, okay. This thinks I have 2, but it's because I've got them cut in half. Baby carrots, it says 5/8 of a cup. Okay, I said it was a half a cup, so 4/8 of a cup. A pretzel, interesting, okay. So it thinks, and it can't know what these are, but it thinks that the, wow, that's a lot of points. So it thinks that this is a pretzel. It thinks that the hummus is a hummus. Oh, check it out. It's tracking it. It's trying to track it as the hummus lunch meal that I saved. Interesting. And then 1 blood orange. That's pretty darn close. But what you can do really quickly is I can go ahead and say track it. So that was actually pretty cool. That's my very first time using it live with you all. So now that I've tracked it, I can go back, and if I'm feeling especially weird about it, I can say it was 1 egg, and I can update it. And then it is not a pretzel, so you can swipe. Did y'all see how I did that? Swipe and remove. Okay, the blood orange was correct. The baby carrots were close enough. And I am missing, let's see, I'm missing the hummus. So I'm gonna scan that. So I'm gonna use the scanner and get my hummus on there. Okay, and it pulled up the hummus, and I'm gonna add that. And then I'm gonna keep using, because remember the scanner stays up now. That's one of the newer features. So I'm gonna use the scanner and find my snacks. Those are 3 points, and I'm gonna track them. And let's see, 8 points, yep. So we have 8 points. We have exactly what we tracked in the other 6 methods. Okay, this last one is gonna blow your mind. So this last one is called split tracking. Okay, I have, oh, that's funny. Rosie said, quick sidetrack, Rosie said I took a picture of egg roll in a bowl and it tracked mostly everything. It wanted to track the carrots as cake. It's pretty funny. So method 7 is called split tracking. So if none of the rest of this works for you, this one is a little tricksy, okay? I know at least 2 people who swear by it, and they say it gets easier if you don't try and overthink it. Both of these people are 100%. Most of their points are eaten at dinner. They are also both very hard on themselves when they've gone over a little during the day and realize that it's a 0-point food dinner for them. Again, and they're both also very prone to being disappointed when they only have 0 points left for said dinner. And so they throw in the daily towel and don't track dinner and then go to bed. Just eat whatever they want to, don't track it, and go to bed. Seriously, and I love you both, but you know who you are. Okay, this is not very good for the attitude, okay? Or for your tracking streak if you just throw it all out and go on. So if this sounds like you, I'm going to show you a little trick that Gwen showed us a couple of years ago, and I do not personally use this method, so I asked her to re-show it to us this last Tuesday night to make sure that I was doing it correctly, but be prepared to have your mind blown. So figure out what you're going to have for dinner today. You might be having it right now. We're going to make up something. So we are going to, in this example, we're going to get rid of everything. Well, we don't have to. So let's say for this example that I'm going to have, I don't know, let me look up something from a restaurant. So let's say that dinner is my highest point meal and that I'm going to go to Applebee's and I'm going to have chicken wonton tacos. I'm just picking something, okay? So that's 17 points. Okay, so chicken wonton tacos, I was going to have those. I'm not going to track it as dinner today, okay? That's 17 points. That doesn't leave me with a lot of points for the day. Sounds crazy. Next, instead, you're going to track it as tomorrow night's dinner. So instead of tracking it today, I'm going to say the date is tomorrow. Well, I already tracked something on tomorrow's dinner, so let's do it the next. No, we better do it tomorrow. Okay, and then you're going to track it. Okay. So then, oops, that means that tomorrow, since I've already tracked tonight's dinner as tomorrow's dinner, and let me just clean this up real quick. Since I tracked tonight's dinner as tomorrow's dinner, that means that I already know tomorrow I have 11 points left, okay? So I'm going to track tomorrow's breakfast and lunch as usual. Then tomorrow night for dinner, I'm going to track it on, so tomorrow's Monday, so I would track it on Tuesday, and then so on and so on and so on. So here's the mind-blowing part. It's the same number of points per day, so I didn't change my points per day. I'm not cheating the system. I'm not borrowing points from tomorrow for today. But now, if you need this, you can clearly see how many points you've already used in that 24-hour period. So all you did was move tonight's dinner to tomorrow night, and then the next one to the next night, and the next one to the next night. So you're still using the same number of points in a 24-hour period, but you can clearly see before your day starts, oh, okay, I have 11 points left for my 24-hour period because your higher point meal from the night before is already tracked, and it's much easier to plan your 2 lower point meals. So, you know, if it's dinner or if it's lunch or whatever, it's much easier to plan around that. So does that make sense? Isn't that genius? Isn't that fantastic? So for my friends who use it, the friends who used to get so upset because they were out of points every single day, and I had one of them, she would wait until midnight. She would stay up until midnight and start eating again because that's when her points reset. Okay, this has worked fantastically for her. So I hope you all enjoy the new format. That is the end of tonight's chat. I got to get all this stuff put up so I can head home, but I hope you all enjoy the new format. If you've got any feedback, good, bad, ugly, indifferent, if you need anything to come back, if anything else could go away, or if you're totally happy with it, whatever your response is, please let me know. I hope that you learned something in my tracking hacking in the second half. We tracked the same meal, so we tracked this little meal here 7 different ways, actually 6.5 different ways, but hopefully you found a new tracking hacking, some new hack for a track, so that you can do that. Oh, Carol Lou, that's a whole nother story. That's a whole nother story, honey. They don't, that's not what they were using them for. I'll just have to tell you later what they were doing. Split tracking was perfect for them. So I hope you found something new, and I hope you found something that you enjoyed. I hope the new format is okay, because we're going to do it again next week, and give Casey a couple of days to get those new graphics done, and then I definitely want feedback on that. Woo! That was a lot for one evening, so I had a great time tonight. Thank you all again so much for letting me bail out at the last minute last week. Really wasn't anything I could have done about it. It was miserable. But if you are watching this on YouTube, and again, that's just youtube.com/@IfYouHaveAnEgg, I hope that you will hit the little subscribe button, and that you'll let the next video roll over, which is right there, and it's coming up next. But otherwise, for the rest of y'all, I will see you next week. Everybody have a good week. Good night.